are now entering week 4 of the trial against Sean Diddy Combs. The defense is expected to continue its cross-examination of Mia, Diddy's former personal assistant. Now, Mia, who testified under this pseudonym because she doesn't want to...
New York City, June 4th, 2025. A seemingly ordinary day, yet for anyone following the news, it was a day of bated breath. Across television screens, newspaper headlines, and radio waves, the name Sean Diddy Combs flared up like a wildfire. Not for a new hit song, nor for a multi-million-dollar business deal. This time, it was about a downfall. For weeks, Diddy's trial at the Manhattan Federal Courthouse had been the epicenter, drawing millions of eyes, every breath awaiting a verdict. The public, once accustomed to the dazzling glow of the bad boy empire, now watched in stunned silence as a dark curtain was slowly drawn back, revealing terrifying secrets that seemed to exist only in the most chilling of film scripts. Whispers on social media, heated debates on talk shows, all revolved around a single question. Could this powerful hip-hop mogul truly be a predator in artists' clothing? Manhattan Federal Court, June 4th, 2025. Sean Diddy Combs sat anxiously as a shocking, unconfirmed rumor swept through the courthouse. Diddy attacked his lawyers. He tried to break out. This unverified news ignited a frenzy, leaving everyone fixated on the music mogul. His lead counsel, Howard Pasternak, struggled to manage the chaos. Pasternak felt immense pressure as the alleged incident, true or not, further weakened their already fragile defense. Diddy, looking cornered, merely shook his head, his gaze sweeping the courtroom. The drama began at 10:30 a.m. when shouts and scuffles from Diddy's holding area halted the trial, fueling whispers of an unsuccessful prison break and Diddy attacking his lawyers. This intensified scrutiny on the courthouse as Pasternak could feel the prosecution gaining ground. Sean Diddy Combs, once the titan of bad boy records, now faces a public downfall. His trial, which began May 5, 2025, is plagued by public prejudice, especially after a 2016 video allegedly showing him assaulting Cassie Ventura surfaced in May 2024. Arrested in September 2024 and denied bail, Diddy faces incredibly grave charges from an April 2025 indictment: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and abuse of women. If convicted, he faces life in prison. Prosecutor Maureen Comey asserts Diddy was a violent manipulator. This intense legal battle threatens his entire defense. The Manhattan courtroom was gripped by the testimony of Diddy's former long-term girlfriend on May 13, 2025. She vividly recounted a decade of coercion, detailing freak-offs, multi-day drug-fueled sex parties Diddy allegedly orchestrated weekly. She claimed Diddy used secretly recorded videos to control her. Her testimony also implicated others, notably Britney Spears, present at a 2007 birthday party, and Kid Cudi, whose brief relationship with the witness allegedly provoked Diddy to threaten him and damage his property. During cross-examination, Diddy's lawyer, Anna Estevao, challenged her claims of coercion with text messages, but the witness maintained she acted out of fear. A former assistant, Mia, corroborated an incident where Diddy allegedly assaulted the witness after a secret party. On June 4, 2025, Brianna Bana Bongolan, a friend of the primary witness, delivered chilling testimony. She described Diddy dangling her over a 17th-floor balcony in 2016 and witnessing him throw a knife at the primary witness. Bongolan feared Diddy, recalling him stating, "I'm the devil and I can kill you." Mia, another former assistant, concluded her 3-day testimony on June 3, 2025. Describing a life of constant verbal abuse and physical threats from Diddy. She recounted trying to stop Diddy from assaulting the primary witness with Deontay Nash, believing Diddy intended to kill them. Diddy's lawyers attempted to discredit Mia by presenting affectionate social media posts, which she explained were part of her job and a result of fear. The trial exposed Diddy's vast influence within the entertainment industry. Figures like Michael B. Jordan, Kanye West, who publicly supported Diddy, Usher, allegedly present during an assault, and Jay-Z were mentioned, highlighting Diddy's far-reaching connections. Diddy's defense argued his actions were not racketeering or sex trafficking, but a flawed celebrity lifestyle, attempting to discredit witnesses. Public reaction was intense. The May 2024 release of the Cassie Ventura video sparked widespread outrage and calls for boycotts. In court, emotional testimonies often led to visible distress among observers. Amidst the condemnation, conspiracy theories also emerged, speculating Diddy was a patsy in a larger, dark network, highlighting a disturbing trend of celebrity crime stories being distorted to satisfy morbid curiosity. Deep within the stark confines of Brooklyn Federal Jail, Diddy lay on his unforgiving cot, staring at the cold gray ceiling. Each night, the silence of his cell was shattered by the vivid, unwelcome echoes of his glorious past. He wasn't just remembering, he was reliving. He saw himself lounging on the deck of his custom-built superyacht off the coast of St. Bart's, the Caribbean sun warming his skin, a steady stream of Dom Perignon flowing, surrounded by models, artists, and power players. He felt the weight of custom-tailored Versace suits on his shoulders, the gleam of diamond-encrusted Rolexes on his wrist. The scent of truffle-infused Wagyu steak and roasted Maine lobster seemed to drift through the stale prison air, a torment to his current bland rations. He remembered the roar of tens of thousands of fans at Madison Square Garden, their collective energy a personal anthem to his genius. The blinding flashes of paparazzi bulbs on red carpets, where he dictated trends and set the cultural agenda. He recalled the effortless command he held in any room, whether it was a billion-dollar boardroom meeting or an exclusive after-party in his penthouse overlooking Central Park. Private jets, always on standby, whisking him from New York to Paris, from London to Los Angeles, a life woven from threads of absolute power and boundless indulgence. He was the architect of dreams, the emperor of an empire built on rhythm, ambition, and an iron will. The contrast with his current reality was a bitter poison. He loathed the coarse prison-issue jumpsuit, the pervasive smell of disinfectant mixed with despair, the cold, unyielding surfaces. He craved not just the gourmet food and fine wines, but the very choice of them, the power to summon anything he desired with a snap of his fingers. His skin yearned for the touch of silk sheets. His body ached for the soft leather of his custom Maybach. And then there were the witnesses: Cassie Ventura, Brianna Bongolan, Mia. All those names, each a viper he believed he had nurtured, now spitting venom in open court. "They don't understand my world," he seethed, his jaw clenching. "They are mere pawns trying to dismantle the empire I built with my own blood and sweat. Ungrateful, treacherous snakes." He fantasized about the day he would stand atop the world again, triumphant, and watch as every single person who testified against him knelt at his feet, begging for the forgiveness he would never grant. The resentment churned within him, a hot, agonizing fire. Just then, the heavy steel door of his cell creaked open. Mr. Howard Pasternak stepped in, his eyes weary but still maintaining a facade of professional calm. Pasternak saw the torment etched on Diddy's face, a volatile mix of anger, fear, and a hint of desperation that the mogul rarely allowed to surface. "Sean," Pasternak said, his voice measured, "we need to talk about Mia's testimony. There are some points we need to clarify." Diddy lifted his head, his eyes sharp and cold. "You don't understand, Howard," he whispered, his voice hoarse. "You don't understand the price of betrayal." Pasternak nodded, knowing this was no time for an emotional argument. He pulled a cold metal chair closer, lowering his voice. "Sean, we have a big problem. The record is against you. The prosecution is building a wall. We need a way out." "Another way out." Diddy sneered, a dry laugh. "A way out? You think I haven't thought of it? I've tried. They won't give me bail. They won't let me breathe. They want me to rot here." He tapped his fingers on the bars. "You saw that this morning. They're not going to let me go easily." Pasternak looked Diddy straight in the eye, his voice low, urgent. "Listen, Sean, we can create a situation, a medical incident, a heart attack, or something serious enough that they have to take you out of here to a civilian hospital." He spoke slowly, emphasizing each word. "Once you're outside in a less controlled environment, opportunities open up. We can create an event, a transition, an opening that we can exploit." Diddy frowned, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "You want me to fake an illness, a heart attack? They won't believe it. They already know me." "You don't have to convince them completely," Pasternak explained. "Just enough to get them to act. You've been in custody for a long time. Your health is a concern. With your history with the pressure of the trial, a heart attack is medically acceptable. We can arrange for a team of doctors, a medical expert, to testify to your critical condition. Once you get to the hospital, we'll have someone there. Everything will be ready." Silence filled the room. Diddy stared at Pasternak, weighing his words. He remembered the feeling of being trapped, of being powerless. This was a risk, a huge gamble. But what other options were there? The fear of a life sentence began to overwhelm his hatred. "And if I can't do it?" Diddy asked, his voice suddenly small, fearful. "What if I can't escape this trap?" Pasternak didn't answer directly. He just looked at Diddy, his eyes full of meaning. "Sean," he said, "this could be our last chance. Do you dare to gamble?" Diddy was silent for a long moment, feeling the pounding in his chest. He took a deep breath, picturing the sun-drenched streets of Los Angeles, the non-stop parties. "Okay, Howard," he said, his voice regaining its familiar firmness. "Do it. Show them that Sean Combs is not that easy to beat." June 5th, 2025. Dawn broke through the tiny window of Diddy's cell, bringing with it the chill of a fateful day. Pasternak had reconnected with him last night, going over every minute detail. "Remember, Sean, exactly at 10 a.m., everything's set. You just need to play your part perfectly." The lawyer's words echoed in Diddy's mind. Fear and exhilaration mingled, forming a knot in his throat. He'd spent the entire night practicing how to clutch his chest, how to gasp for air, and how to make his eyes convey ultimate agony. Though he was a master performer in the entertainment world, this was a role with no retakes, no second chances. Precisely at 10 a.m., the digital clock on the cell wall flipped. Diddy took a deep breath, then suddenly clutched his chest, collapsing onto the floor with a choked groan escaping his throat. His metal breakfast tray crashed loudly, sending a jarring clang through the stillness. He clawed at the cell door, eyes wide and bloodshot, pupils dilated dramatically. "My heart! My heart!" he rasped, his voice breaking. The commotion immediately caught the attention of the guards. Two correctional officers, initially dismissive of what they assumed was another prisoner's theatrical outburst, exchanged worried glances upon seeing Diddy's ashen face and convulsing body. This was Sean Combs, a high-profile inmate. A death in custody would be an unthinkable PR disaster. An alarm blared, tearing through the prison's sterile silence. In the Manhattan courthouse hallway, Pasternak awaited a call. His phone vibrated. Brooklyn Detention Center flashed on the screen. A satisfied smirk briefly crossed the lawyer's lips. Everything was unfolding as planned. "Prepare the ambulance, get him to Manhattan General Hospital. We have a doctor waiting there," Pasternak ordered into the phone, his voice laced with authority. He envisioned Diddy, now a medical emergency, being wheeled out of the prison, stepping into the next phase of their escape plan. The ambulance, lights flashing and siren wailing, sped down the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway, heading towards Manhattan. Inside, Diddy lay on the stretcher, forcing himself to maintain the facade of agony. He could hear the paramedics' urgent voices, the steady beeping of medical equipment, but his mind raced with images of freedom. He was in a loose-fitting hospital gown, no handcuffs. He'd fooled the guards. The hospital entrance loomed into view, but as the ambulance screeched to a halt outside Manhattan General Hospital's emergency entrance, a tall figure in a sharp black suit emerged from a dark SUV. It was Special Agent John Kelly, a federal investigator renowned as the Hunter for his undefeated track record. He'd been monitoring Diddy for a long time, and Diddy's recent unstable behavior, coupled with an intercepted internal alert from a confidential source about a suspicious medical request, had raised red flags. Kelly knew Diddy's history of leveraging his status, including past reports of his attempts to use medical conditions to delay proceedings or change his detention conditions. Kelly signaled for security officers to block the hospital doors. "I have a federal court order," Kelly stated, his voice ice-cold, flashing a document. "Mr. Combs will be transferred to a federal medical facility under strict federal supervision. No one enters or leaves without my explicit permission." Pasternak, who had just arrived, watched in stunned silence as his perfect plan crumbled in an instant. "This is outrageous!" he yelled, his voice cracking. "This is a medical emergency! He requires immediate medical attention!" Kelly turned, his eyes piercing. "Mr. Pasternak, we anticipated this maneuver. Mr. Combs did not suddenly have a heart attack. This was a blatant escape attempt, and it has failed." Kelly's words cut through the chaos like a surgeon's scalpel. He had seen this play before, the sudden illness of a high-profile defendant. The FBI had received intelligence pointing to an elaborate plan involving a bribed medical staff member and a waiting getaway vehicle once Diddy was outside the prison's direct control. Kelly's team had been monitoring Pasternak's associates for weeks, and a pattern of unusual communications had confirmed their suspicions. Diddy, lying on the stretcher, struggled to comprehend what was happening. He saw Kelly's triumphant, hateful gaze and the raw despair on Pasternak's face. The plan was exposed. Fury and terror erupted within him. He thrashed on the stretcher, screaming expletives, his body genuinely convulsing with a mix of rage and desperation. Paramedics struggled to restrain him. "Let me go! You can't do this to me!" Diddy roared, but his voice was drowned out by the blare of federal police sirens arriving to reinforce Kelly's command. Pasternak closed his eyes, a bitter taste of failure filling his mouth. He had tried. But Diddy, with his unpredictable nature and reckless impulsiveness, had ultimately trapped himself in an even deeper predicament. The breakout had failed spectacularly. And now, Diddy faced not only sex trafficking charges, but also an additional charge of conspiracy to escape federal custody. Their path forward was now darker and more hopeless than ever before. June 6, 2025, the day after his alleged heart attack and subsequent federal intervention, Sean "Diddy" Combs appeared in court in a drab prison uniform, the easy swagger replaced by seething fury. News of his supposed medical emergency, now widely reported as an escape plot, had exploded across every news channel and social media platform. As he was seated, Diddy's eyes immediately locked onto his lawyer, Howard Pasternak. The new charge of conspiracy to escape federal custody, formally announced just hours before, hung over him, piling onto existing racketeering and sex trafficking allegations. Pasternak leaned in to whisper, "Sean, we need to address this new charge head-on. We can argue it was a misunderstanding, a medical emergency." Diddy cut him off with a dangerous growl, slamming his cuffed hand onto the table. "A misunderstanding? You set me up. This whole heart attack scheme, it was a trap. You promised me a way out, and instead, you just dug my grave deeper." Pasternak recoiled, trying to explain it as a calculated risk and an unfortunate turn of events. But Diddy snarled, "A leak? Or a double cross?" He pointed a trembling finger at the prosecutor, Maureen Comey, then at the silent jury. "They're laughing at me! This wasn't just a failure, it was a public humiliation. And you," he turned back to Pasternak, his voice rising, "you orchestrated it. My empire, my legacy, it's all collapsing, and you're just standing there, letting it happen." Judge Arun Subramanian slammed his gavel, warning Diddy to control himself. But Diddy was beyond control, his face contorted. "You don't understand," he yelled, his voice cracking. "They want to destroy me, and my own lawyers, my own people. They're helping them!" His wild outburst shocked everyone present as bailiffs scrambled to restore order. Pasternak sat frozen, the weight of Diddy's accusation pressing down on him. The desperate gamble to secure Diddy's freedom had backfired spectacularly, adding a new serious charge and irrevocably fracturing the trust between client and counsel. The once impenetrable wall of the defense had just revealed its deepest cracks for all the world to see. The trial continues in Manhattan, with more witness testimony and additional evidence expected in the coming weeks. Prosecutors have affirmed their commitment to continuing to present their case, ensuring that every alleged victim's voice is heard. If convicted, Diddy faces a minimum of 15 years and up to life in prison, a stark contrast to the luxurious life he once led. Pasternak and his legal team worked tirelessly, their office lights burning late into the nights. They analyzed every piece of testimony, every shred of evidence, hoping to find the loophole, the misstep by the prosecution, the argument that could save Diddy from a life behind bars. The pressure was immense, almost suffocating. Pasternak knew his reputation, his legacy, was on the line as much as Diddy's freedom. This isn't just about winning, it's about survival, he thought, as he stared at the endless stacks of legal documents. The eyes of the world remain fixed on the Manhattan courthouse as new revelations emerge daily in the trial of Sean "Diddy" Combs. Will the scales of justice finally balance the weight of his alleged crimes? Or will his legal team manage to weave a narrative that absolves him of the most severe charges? The answers hang in the air, awaiting the jury's deliberation. A moment that will forever etch its mark on the legacy of a man who once ruled an empire, now facing the very real possibility of its complete collapse.